Yeah, and I think it's you know it's in the hands of God. You don't know, you know. I mean, I prayed very just recently. I had this woman come to me, and she had breast cancer, and then it metastasized to her liver, and we prayed. I brought in so many people, and we prayed hard, and I would we'd all I brought in healers when I could get them, and her levels went up, and she was doing really really good, and then she stopped coming, and I that was around Easter, and I didn't hear anything. And then just by chance, I asked someone, "Oh, how is Sandy?" And they said she died. And that was painful for me because no one told me. If I had known, I would have went to her bedside. And I think that whether you get a spiritual healing or a physical healing, you get some. And
Yeah.
she was lovely. She had some animosity towards her stepmom, so we got rid of that, and she was lovely. I think she embraced her death,
Yeah.
and I had a woman one time. She had a brain tumor, and they were just going to operate on her to relieve the pain. And when I asked the family to come in, they look at me like I have 12 heads, and I asked them to come in. We prayed for her about 2 months, and then I said, I need your family to come in. And
Yeah.
so they come in, and during that period of time, it came out that she was mad at her husband for dying and leaving her. And so I said to her, I said, you have to forgive him. You've got to forgive him. It wasn't his fault. And she said, all right. And so we went through this process, and she forgave him. And I said to her, her name was Sherry too, Sherry. And she said, I said, listen, I have an angel, Sarah, and I'm going to send Sarah with you, and she's going to help you. I said, and before you go in that operation, you look for her because she'll be standing right there. And so she went into and they just said they were just going to take the nerves and cut them to, let her have a peaceful death. So she went in and she said, "So help me God." She said, I saw Sarah standing right there. She said, as beautiful. Her wings were open, and they went in and they operated, and was benign. And she's still alive today. And that was about 20 years ago. And her eyes closed. Sheila, her name was. Her eyes closed because they could never operate
Yeah.
to do that. And so she, and that was a miracle.
Okay. So we know that everyone has the ability to do what you do, especially if they practice as much as you practiced. So we're doing this because I've been coming to see you for a few years, and you've been helping me get through my husband's death, get through post passing, because your husband also passed away almost 4 years ago.
Over 4 now.
Over 4
Going
years
on
ago.
5. Yeah.
So you've been actually getting messages from my husband, though you're not a medium, and texting me these messages, and I'm thinking to myself, there is no way in the world Darlene would know to say that. This has to be coming from my husband. Like the things that he's saying, you've never met my husband. It's just uncanny. And I say, Darlene, that's a validation. Darlene, that's a validation. So you said I said, you're helping me. And you said you want to help people be able to connect.
Because I think that there isn't always a medium around that you can see or get when you're in dire need, and I think that by teaching someone that they can journal and write to them, or write them letters each day, and keep writing, and as they write, they're going to start talking to you, and a lot of times. I started journaling my husband when it was 7 weeks after he died, and I said to him, I said, Ron, I don't want to be making this up. I said, I need this to be you. And he said to me, it's a little bit of me, a little bit of you. I said, well, I need sign to know that it's real, because I desperately want to talk to you, but I don't want to make it up. I want to know. So he said to me, he said, well, tomorrow, he said, there'll be flowers delivered to you. He said, and when you get those, you'll know that I was here. So the first client came in and brought me flowers. Then at 1 o'clock, I had flowers delivered, and 4 o'clock, I had roses. And so,
Did I deliver you flowers that time?
I think you did. Yeah, it was you. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, from the garden, right? Was it from your garden, or did you bring me
No, from Evans Flowers.
Oh yeah, that was
I
the
said
second.
thank you.
Yeah, that was the second. So, and then he, so I would write to him, and the second thing he said to me is, you know, on my birthday, he said, send purple balloons up in the air. I don't know why purple, because he didn't really like purple, he liked brown. So I had all, he said, have all the kids sign a note to me and let them go. So at 7:30 on October 8th, I had all my grandchildren, we let these balloons go. The very next day on Facebook, this woman said, Darlyne, and she was in Framingham. She said, my balloons are in your, my balloons are in, your balloons are in my yard. Now how they got from there to there is you know, really unbelievable. And he said to me, another time he said, you know, Darlyne, I always watch your back. He said, something's gonna happen today that you're gonna know that I'm always there for you. And so I had to go to the bank, and I had to transfer some cars. So I had this pink case, and I must have put it on the top of my car, and I drove off. And so my son called me, and he said, Mom, somebody has your pink case. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, he said, this guy called and said he has this pink case. So I called him, and he said, ma'am, he said, I want to tell you something. He said, and I had checks and everything in there. And he said, you know, somebody could have destroyed you. So he said, I wanted to give this to you. So I got my grandchildren, I have big grandson. So I said, we're going to go to the restaurant and meet this guy. He got out of the car, and he was 6'4", covered with tattoos. And he said to me, he said, ma'am, I want to tell you, he said, if I had found this case 2 years ago, he said, you wouldn't have got it back. He said, but I'm a different man today. And he gave me this thing that said, one man can change your life. One person can change someone's life. And I said, well, you know what? I said, my husband sent you. And he looked at me like, yeah. I said, no, really? He said, well, you know, funny thing is, I never go down that road. He said, something told me to go down that road. I said, well, my husband told you, and he told me that he was going to take care of me today. So I gave him $100, and off he went to the restaurant. So then I was writing my husband one day, and he said, Darlyne, someone's going to bring you chimes today, and when you do, every time those chimes will ring, you'll know I loved you. So I said to my granddaughter Nicole, watch out for someone, because they bring you chimes. She goes, yeah, right on. So about an hour later, this woman comes in with chimes, and she said, I was sitting at my desk.
They still think you're a hack.
Yeah. And she said to me, she said to Nicole, she said, I was sitting at my desk, and your grandfather told me to bring your grandmother these chimes. And so, my granddaughter goes pale, you know. And so we said thank you, and I took the chimes. 3 weeks later, the girl that brought me the chimes calls me on the phone, and she said, Darlyne, I gotta tell you something. I went into a store today, she said, and there's this man giving a reporter an interview, and he's talking about one of the most interesting things in his life was he found this pink case, and he said the woman said that her husband sent him, and the reporter said, well, what's this woman's name? And he said, Darlyne from the Magic Believing, and the woman just open, she just couldn't believe it, you know, and she's from one part of the world, and he's from another, and they meet. You know, so there was, you know, and that would happen over and over again. I was writing my.
So they both knew you?
They both knew me. Yeah, she brought me the chimes, and he was the one that found the case.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean the odds of that are so wild. And then he said, I was writing one time, and my daughter's mother-in-law died, and she was washing my cabinets, and I said, and I wrote, tell Lenny that his mother's sister came and got her. So I said, Denise. I said, did Lenny's mother have a sister? She said, Mom, funny thing you should say that. She said, when Dolly was dying, they said, Dolly, reach out your hand, your sister's here. You know, and not her husband, not anybody, but her sister. And I said, come over here, Denise, and I want to show you. And she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened about Denise is Denise always brings me carnations. She brings me white, pink, red, never yellow. She hates yellow, she won't bring them in. She don't like yellow. She said, Mom, I will never bring you yellow carnations. So I'm riding with Ronnie when he goes, Darlyne, today Denise is going to bring you yellow carnations. Walked right in the door with them. She said, Mom, you know what? They were pretty. They were the only ones that were left. She said, so, you know, and so, and it would happen like that over and over and
So
over
what
again.
you're saying is, when you're a psychic, when you do your psychic readings, you're actually getting your information from spirits.
Yeah, or the
It's
other
not
person.
yourself.
Or it's the other person. You know, it's what, you know, everything that is ever going to happen to you is in the Akashic records or written somewhere.
Is that because it's already happened?
It's already happened, yeah. And, you know, people don't know, is this dimension or that dimension or what it is. So I'm sitting across from this person and I'm kind of opening up their channels to show them, you know what happens. And one of the funniest things that that people say to me is like, how did you know that? And I'm like, you know, you just spent $85 to go for a reading, and then you're asking me how, you know,
Yeah.
it's just, you know, and sometimes, you know, it amazes me too, because I'll hear something and, you know, something really obscure like, you know, Oregon or Minnesota or something, and I don't say it because the person doesn't look like they've ever been to Minnesota, so I don't say anything. Then it comes back, tell them they're going to Minnesota. So I'll say, you know, I don't know, but I think that, you know, when you get your job, you're gonna interview in Minnesota. They said, and they'll tell me, well, I just got a call from Minnesota, you know. So you have to trust it because it keeps coming at you, and you know, I get strange things like tell them that they were raised on a pig farm or something, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not gonna tell them that, you know, because you're sitting in front of this woman who's very together, and you know, so, and it will come back at you and back at you. And I remember one day I kept hearing Joy to the World. Jeremiah was bullfrog, and I heard it over and over and over again. And this woman was in front of me, and I'm like, okay, you know, I keep hearing this, so I want you, I want to tell you what I'm hearing. I'm hearing Jeremiah was bullfrog, and she started to cry. She said, oh my God, it's my brother's birthday, and he always sang me that song.
All right.
You know, so it's like, and so I always tell people when I'm teaching is that, you know, if you're wrong, but give it out. Because sometimes people don't know till they get home and they go, yeah, oh yeah. I remember Kevin Cohen, he's a medium.
Yeah.
And
I've been to him.
One of the better
Very
ones.
good, yeah.
And so I was sitting, and I read all these people that he's reading, you know, and he'd go, I want to come to you, and, you know, there's a man here, and blah, 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 and they go, no, I don't know who that is, and I'm like, I wanted to get up and strangle them, because I read them, and I know who he's talking about.
But they're so nervous.
They're so nervous that they don't, you know, they don't know.
Know how many times I've left you and I've said, oh, that's what she was talking about, and why didn't I know it then?
Yeah,
know?
I think because it comes in symbols, and you don't really know. I mean, you can't go to college and become a
Just
psychic.
to put the pieces together,
Yeah.
you know.
And and there has to be a rhythm, because I do that wheel, and it has to go from, you know, and that's why when people are knocking on my door and saying time's up, I won't go until I finish that rhythm. I got to finish that whole thing, because you know, I want to, you know. And
the buzzer, Darlyne, Darlyne.
But I just have to, you know, I have to be comfortable with it. And as older I get, it's a little, you know, it takes a little longer to come in. And you know, sometimes, you know, especially, you know, some people will just do this. The little guy, you know, he did this, you know, and I go, take your arms down. And they put it, you know, and you know, especially someone who's a non-believer, it takes me a while to get through to them. I have done a lot of men lately, a lot of men, you know, and I go, okay, you know, I know that you didn't walk in this office. Either your girlfriend sent you, your wife sent you, someone sent you, you know, and so, and I'll say to them, do you believe? And they go, not really. And I go, well, you know, all I'm asking you to do is to be open and not to, you know, judge me until it's over. You know, and I said, I just want you to open yourself up to me. And 9 out of 10 times, guys are really good once, you know, because they're not used, women go to psychics all the time. you know, so they're not used to, so they think I'm like, wow, you know, if I say something that's, you know, wow, you know, and they get all crazy, you know, but it really is the union between the two of us.
Yeah.
You know, if you come and you wanna put me down and you wanna, you know, make me look like a fool, you certainly can, because you don't open up. And, you know, when I can't, I'm not gonna, you know, sometimes I get so angry that I go, I'm just, you know what, I got half an hour, I'm gonna just keep reading and reading and reading and reading. You know, and sometimes the people will come back and tell me what I said.
I was waiting in the office one day, and there was a woman that was waiting to go in, and she went in and she came out, and she loved you so much. She said, you know, I was very skeptical when I went in, and I went in there, and I was so close, she couldn't read me, but she said, I can come back and she's going to give me another reading for free, because she couldn't read me. And she was so happy about that. I said, well, you have to be open for her to have that communication.
If I don't feel that there was a woman today that came in, and she was actually, I told her she was a riot. She said, you're the only one that thinks I'm funny. Yes. But she was so controlling and so manipulative that she was funny, you know, and she just like, you know, she was telling me, I don't know why my family gets so upset. I said, well, maybe because you go in and tell them, you know, everybody what to do. I said, you know, maybe they don't like that. I think, you know, and she's got this stomach thing. I said, that's because you go home and you're upset because, you know, you opened your mouth, you know, and you know, you mean well, but they don't, you know, a lot of times people don't want to hear the truth, you know. And she said,
that's where the word painfully honest.
Yeah, she's painfully honest, you know. And she's like, and I told my husband this, and I told my husband that, and I go, you know what, your husband not even listening to you, you know. He's, you know, he's used to you just coming and telling him this and that and this and that. And I said, you know, and she was really funny, and she was making me laugh. She said, you're the only one that thinks I'm funny. I said, because you just, you know, you're doing this with your whole heart, you know, but yet you're aggravating everybody, you know. And I said, you know, the hair comes over the top of their head when you walk in, you know. And so she, you know, but she did a lot of talking. So I said to her, I said, you know what, I want you to come back in 3 months. I said, because, you know, I really didn't get into the reading because you were doing a lot of talking, you know. And she said, okay, you know. So she was really, you know, and 9 out of 10 times people will say to me, can I hug you? You know, and I'm not a hugger.
I always say that.
I'm not really a hugger, you know. I don't like to be hugged, you know, but I'll do it, you know. And they'll say, a lot of them say, you're my therapist, you know. And all I try to do is do the best I can, you know. I just try to, you know, have them leave with a better feeling than that they came in. I mean, the hardest thing of all is relationships. It's hard, you know, because these people come in with this preconceived notion that they're going to be in, like a 19-year-old or something, that they're going to be in love forever with this person. And when I even dare to even mention that they're not going to be there for the rest of their life, they just don't, you know, they don't like me. And I think when you're trying to do a relationship, there's this person that is in control and this person in control. So you can meet them, but until you've like kissed or hugged or whatever, you really can't feel it. You know, it's an inanimate thing that's coming together, you know. And you know, this woman said to me today, you told me exactly who this was going to be, and rah, 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 rah. I said, you know, he may come in, but that doesn't mean he's the one. You know, I mean, it's just, it's what I'm feeling is coming in. I said, but, you know, if he's not good to you or he's bad, why would that be your soulmate? You know?
Yeah, right.
And so, you know, so I get, you know, but I have lately, there's been people that I haven't seen for 30 years. And they'll say to me, Darlyne, you know, I ran across your tape and I put it in, and everything that you said, you know, has come true. And this one woman said to me, you told me not to marry my husband. You told me, begged me. She said, but I did. She said, and, you know, and so, but I mean, everybody has freedom of choice. I think that you know, you have, you know, you can go down this road and you can fall in the hole, and you can get up and go down this road and fall in the hole again. Sooner or later, you gotta take the other road. You know,
how many times you're going to bang your head against the wall?
Yeah, and you know, I think that you're so used to banging your head against the wall that you don't know the difference, you know, and
Yeah.
it's,
I
you know,
want to say something about how you believe everybody has psychic ability. I have had a few things happen to me in my life where I would have premonitions, and the premonitions would come true. And a couple years ago, um, I was at the park with my son, and I saw this man with a little girl, and all my hair stood up on end. It was her dad, but I had a really gut feeling about this guy that he was gonna kill the little girl's mother and kidnap the little girl, or one or the other. I was had these voices in my head so bad. I ended up taking pictures of him, taking pictures of the little girl, and taking pictures of his truck. And I called the police. Now, my husband was coming down the park as I was calling the police. I hung up the phone and he knew I was up to something. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, the guy's gone, blah, 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 blah." He said, "You know what, Sean? Call the police. If you feel that strong about it, if it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's something, at least you call the police." I did call the police, and what ended up, he did end up killing his wife.
wow.
And the little girl, the situation was really bad, and because I had pictures of the little girl, there was proof that something did happen because of the pictures showed her before. And they arrested the man ended up going to jail, and I always wondered why that happened.
To save the girl.
To save the girl, but I wondered why. And it made such a believer out of my husband. Because the next day I had a dream, before the police found out, I had a dream of the woman. And it was like a vision of her lying as if she was embalmed, like in the woods, with all these insects around her. Because what happened was he had left her in the heat. And, but I didn't know that then when I had this dream. And I told my husband about it, and I was all flipping out. So basically what I saw in my mind came true. And it made a believer out of my husband, and I wondered why. And yes, it saved the little girl, but also when my husband and I came to the point where we knew he was gonna pass over. I mean, because of that, and my conviction in life after death, he was able to accept that it was going to be okay for him. You know what I mean? He was still going to be with me after he passed over. I don't know if that didn't happen to us, and he didn't experience that with me, that he would have been that secure at that time.
I think there's a lot of reasons though too. I think that you went into that vortex and needed to save that girl, you know, and also, you know, and then the other time you may not have told your husband because you may have thought, oh, I'm just silly, you know. And then he validates it and said, if you believe that, you have to do it. And I think that, you know, as far as I'm concerned, and I see pictures of you and your husband, and it's a very angelic union, and I think that, you know, that he was always going to understand, you know, he would have understood. But I mean, the different episodes coming, you know, when I told you, when he would believe, you know, and he was blessed to do that. You know, there was a, you know, and I think that even days before he passed, there were angels around him, you know, comforting him and making him feel okay. And that's why I think he went directly to the light. When we went to the that medium the other night, and he said that they have to rest, I don't believe that. I mean, there's maybe some, but the 9 out of 10 people go right over, you know, and then
he was in my house that night playing with the lights all night.
And I think that they, this is the body that they have that's ill and diseased is gone. That's
but
a
we
vessel.
still miss it.
Yeah, but it's a vessel, and they lift up their spirit, And I think that, your husband did healing while he was here. You comforted him.
The day before he died, he smiled at me all day, staring into my eyes, just sitting there smiling. We literally gazed at each other for hours.
And I think it's divine intervention, and it's the two. Before you come in, you agree that you're going to be this union.
You mean come into the light?
Come into the life together. You agree, because my husband told me that we agreed that he would go first. And I remember one time when we were talking, my husband was a real Billy Graham believer.
Yeah.
I take it, leave it, but, and he told me one time, he said, when I die, Darlyne, he said, I will have this house for you and I'll wait for you, and he said that, and with all the conviction in the world, he believed that, and, and the day that he died, I was going out the door, and he said, come over here, and I said, he said, come over, give your husband a kiss. He said, I miss you. As sweet could ever be, And I think that, and then, when he was dead, he was all flushed and everything. And if I lean down here, I can feel because he had these deep, kind of, I don't know, lines in his face. And when I can feel that on my lips, and when I went down and kissed him, come back up, he was beautiful. He had the light of Christ, and his lashes were long, which I think after he passed away.
It's funny you said that, because when we went to the funeral home the next day after Nate passed away, I was hysterical, and I feel so bad when I think about what I did to the funeral director, because I started screaming and sobbing. Where is he? Where is he? I need to see him. I was hysterical. He said, well, let's sit down and have our meeting, and I'll have you at the end. I said, okay. So at the end, I went into the room, and as soon as I walked in, they had my husband sitting up, and he had a blanket around him. So you see his shoulders, neck, and head. And I remember screaming, oh my God, he's beautiful. And I threw my body on top of him. And I was sobbing, and I was touching his face. And my sister was trying to pull me off of him. And I just kept saying, he's beautiful, he's beautiful. And my sister said, Michelle, he's not. He looks like 100-year-old man.
That's not what you saw.
He's not, Michelle. It doesn't look like me. That wasn't what I saw.
That's what I saw too. I asked my granddaughter, I said, did your grandfather look beautiful? And he said, he said, that she said yes. I mean, he was, I have to tell you, it looked like if I shook him like this, he'd wake up.
Yeah, that's how I felt, but when I touched him,
it's cold. I said, when he started, when he was laying there, and I started to feel him get cold, I said, I have to go. I don't want to touch him if he's cold. I don't want to touch him.
When my husband passed in my arms, the first thing that got cold was the cheeks and the lips. And I remember saying to my sister-in-law, we were all there together, he's cold, he's cold. All right, let's end it here.
Yeah.
And we'll talk some more.
But I want people to know that they have the ability to reach out to their loved ones themselves. It takes work, it takes trust, it takes, you writing down what you feel and not thinking that you're making it up. Just write it, because they want to talk.
I've been taking your advice, and that's why I want to do this, because I've been getting the signs, and they're all over the place.
And there are some good mediums out there, but there are, maybe it is. There are kind of phones too.